Hey, Shrek here, host of the Noob Spearo podcast. It's interviews with spearfishing experts from around the planet. Today, it's a couple of homegrown ones. It's Tim McDonald, former Australian spearfishing champion, Tom Sandstrom, Coffs Harbour sort of legend, and we are chatting all about our Mackay Beyond the Hardline intermediate charter and course. And a bunch of the people that are on this year's adventure jump on and put some questions to us, and we sort of talk about the charter in broad detail. Before we get into that part of the interview, really, Tim, Tom, and I are talking about what happened in last year's intermediate, where we're at, or where these guys are at the moment with their lives and diving, and then we get into sort of what's going to happen on this charter. So I hope you enjoy it. If you are interested in doing a charter or course like that, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested. Fill out a bit of a form there. The more people we have interested in doing courses and charters, the more likely they are to get organised and run. But if you don't register, I don't know that you're interested, and I can't really do anything. So go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested. You're not committing it to anything. You're not putting any money down, but you are simply just telling me, hey, this is where I want to go, and this is the kind of charter or course that I want to do. It helps me with the planning stuff. But we're going to get into it in two shakes of a lamb's tail. Before that, I would love some Nooba stories, especially rants. If you've got some boat ramp rants, like, you know, you and your mates have just got off the boat and you're diving your local spot, and another boat of Spearos pull up 20 meters away and they all jump in and they're starting to hit your spot. That's the sort of rants I want to hear about. People like diving in and shooting the fish that you're going for. If you have a rant, they are welcome on the Noob Spearo podcast. Go to noobspearo.com, head up into the menu, give back, hit Nooba stories, and leave me a voice message to include in the podcast. If you could keep profanity to a minimum, I would love that, but I would love to get some passionate rants because we all learn so much from them and also have a good laugh. So do that at noobspearo.com. Head up into the menu, give back, hit Nooba stories, leave me a voice message. But let's get into it. It's the Mackay Beyond the Hardline intermediate charter and course. Let's do it. Shop with the world's largest dive store, Adreno. Live it and breathe it with frothers just like you, in-store or online at adreno.com.au. Huge range of equipment, always growing, always changing. They are the world's largest dive store. They are available just about everywhere. They have hassle-free returns, massive range of equipment, price match guarantee, and you can check them out online. You can even use the code NoobSpearo to save $20 on every purchase over 200 at adreno.com.au. Check them out. Boom!
I was left with an empty cooler after missing and wounding a bunch of fish with a shoddy speargun. A work colleague urged me to speak to Naptonics, and I'm so glad I did. Without Jerry and the Naptonics team, I would have kept missing bulk fish and coming home to my wife empty-handed. Now I can focus on slaying monster hogs and grouper and covering the deck of my boat in blood.
Never buy a shitty piece of equipment again. Shop naptonics.com, use the code NOOB10 to save 10% and go spearing with confidence. Jerry says if we sell it, we believe in it, we trust it, and dive it. Shop naptonics.com, free shipping for the lower 48 for orders over $199, and you can save 10% when you use the code NOOB10, NOOB10 at naptonics.com. Hoorah! I love companies and people that challenge and poke fun at political correctness. Fuck the Taxman does exactly that with gear that we can identify with. The frustration of being taxed. Go to fuckthetextman.com to check out a huge range of UV-resistant sun-safe shirts, hoodies, shirts, stickers, and more that celebrate the spearfishing life. Recently, I really like the look of some of the boat wraps and boat decals. Go to fuckthetextman.com, check out what they've got. Use the code NoobSpearo at fuckthetextman.com and get a free hat of your choice when you spend $100 or more. Check it out at fuckthetextman.com. Guys, if you are just joining us, Tom, Tim, and I always have so much to chat about when we do get to catch up. Tim was just showing us around his man cave at some of the full sort of plaster cast fish mounts that he's got on his walls. There's some really cool fish. And then Tom was talking about a young guy down in Coffs Harbour who creates these glued together skulls of fish, essentially, but he's got really good attention to detail. He's doing a ripper job, and he's done some quite elaborate fish that are not for your sort of, you know, your first timers, if you like. And I think Tim's in the process of maybe going to send him some work. So that'll be
I'm
cool.
a real patient guy when it comes to gluing that sort of stuff back together.
I bet you are.
About 3 milliseconds of patience.
Guys, I'm joined by Tim McDonald. You probably know him from his YouTube channel, Spearfishing Down Under. And Tom Sandstrom, he's my right-hand man most of the time when I run courses. If he's around, he's generally my top pick. He's an absolute gentleman and a legend, really active in the Coffs Harbour Club if you're in that part of the world. But Tim, I will start with you, mate. Well done on hitting 22,000 subs on your YouTube channel. You've been a lot more active in the last 12 months. I think maybe we spurred you on a little bit when you were in a bit of rivalry there with Dan. But what's your favourite recent vid and sort of why?
You did spur me on. Then you did a vote, and then you did nothing about it, mate. You viewed me again. When I finally get on the vote, then you don't even do anything.
You were doing the dirty stuff. I was like, how many McDonald's are there trying to join my Noob Spiro community Facebook group? You were trying to rig it. I was like, gee.
Had to beat Spanner, definitely.
Yeah, I think you fell 6 votes shy, but you guys definitely sort of killed it. Like it was, you guys got the 2023 crown and bridesmaid.
So we're in 2024. What? How come we never actually did a podcast talking about that, mate? What? Again, you ripped me off flat out.
My organisational skills and time poorness are going to be my primary excuse, Tim. But really, I should have got it done. To be honest, sorry about that.
I'm
going to do another one. I'm actually thinking about running some online voting software and having another crack at it, but making it off Facebook because a lot of people just aren't on there anymore. So, but we'll get to that. But well done on the YouTube channel. What's been your most recent sort of favourite video and why?
The last one we did was actually pretty cool. It was a little bit back in time. Me and Bryson obviously diving a little bit deeper water, shooting big reds and snapper and cool fish like that. That was probably one of my favourites, just simply because that's the sort of thing I love to do. I love diving in that deeper stuff and targeting those sort of reef fish and predominantly areas that you would suggest have never been spearfished before, a long way away from anywhere. That's the stuff. I was putting it together with our editor. Our young editor actually doesn't spearfish. His introduction to spearfishing is through my footage. So he was putting it together. He's like, "Oh, I'm not real sure this one. I don't really understand a whole bunch of it." And I sort of give him a rough edit. He puts it together, then sort of puts the niceties on it. I'm like, I'm telling you, man, this one's definitely Spearos are going to want to watch this. Yeah, so I think that's going well. I think I'll go back a couple of other ones. That one when I was one of my very first ones targeting shooting a jack in deep water and swimming through a cave, 40 meters of water. I think that's probably one of my favorite ones to watch myself. And even that one, I was like, I'd love to just watch the whole dive up and down. That's a video. And the young guy's like, my other guy's like, I don't know if that's. I think I need to do a secondary channel just for hardcore Spearos, just watching death.
There is. We've had these chats before about YouTube channels, and it's a weird algorithm. The platform itself seems to be quite tricky, and then who are you appealing to with your videos? And you're definitely a Spiro with a lot of the stuff that you do and the videos you make. And I remember them from back in the day in Spearfishing Down Under magazine. I used to look forward to it. This was before I even had my own spearing gear. I would watch those videos. So, and Tom. Sorry. I was going to say Tom has had a bit of a rough time recently. A back injury's knocked him back quite a ways, and but somehow he always seems to stay motivated, determined, and positive. Tom, if you could give some encouragement to people who might be experiencing some similar sort of stuff, whether it's illness or injury, setback. A lot of listeners to the podcast kind of, listen because they might be having a big dry spell. So I know you'll probably be speaking to a few people, and you're speaking from experience. So
I'll answer that by asking you another question. Did you wake up this morning?
Oh, grateful.
Did you wake up this morning?
I did.
It's a good day.
Yeah, nice.
No, but you just use the time to set your goals and prioritise. Work on what you can. I couldn't do some things, so I worked on other things that I could do. Just keep my mind busy. That was the biggest thing for me, keeping my mind busy. Otherwise, your mental health stuff gets better.
Yeah. Is it meaningful activity? It seems all the more meaningful when you can't do it for whatever reason, whether it's injury or sickness. And I know when I actually started enjoying running was when I really had a lot of knee problems. And then I was so grateful when I could start to run again. So it's weird how our brains work like that. We have this low level awareness. Now, I wanted to catch up with you two guys in particular, because we're running this Beyond the Hardline Mackay Hardline trip. But last year, you guys jumped on the inaugural Noob Spear Intermediate Spearfishing course. We ran it over in Stratty in November, and both of you guys were absolutely, a massive part of its success. I wanted to talk to you guys about maybe what was a highlight for you, and we'll go back to Tim. For you, for that course, what was your, one highlight from the thing that stands out to you?
My highlight was probably watching a couple of the guys really excel and kick some fear first and foremost. I always say most of the biggest challenges in spearfishing aren't necessarily your body, but more so your head. And one guy in particular, Tim Hall, I remember he's trying to dive and he's got a shark shield strapped to his leg and down the side of his fin and swimming beside me, giving everyone electric shocks, which actually gives me angry feelings. But I remember just talking to him like, hey, mate, why don't you take that thing off and just see what you can do? Because he had this mental block on what he could achieve. He took that thing off, took him a few dives to get his head straight. But I know by the end of the couple of days, his diving, jumped to really what his goal was and what he wanted to achieve and what he wanted to learn. Obviously, he dove with me. He spent some time with Tom, which I think was hugely helpful for him in working through some of the actual physicality of the free dive stuff as well. I know him. I know Mitch. That was a big one for him too, spending some time with Tom. And Tom really helped him on some of his free dive attributes and just watching guys improve. I think that's probably one of my favourite parts of it.
So many people just frothed on having the opportunity to get out there and punch out some dives with you and even just watch you in your element, Tim. I think with one thing I want to replicate on this trip is it's great to teach people how to dive, but sometimes you see better success out of the monkey see, monkey do thing. It's, hey, I'm going to punch a dive, just watch what I do. And then they have a greater frame of reference for, what to do because I've just watched you do it. And as long as you're not sort of, laying claim to being superhuman, which some people would probably suggest you are, Tim, with some of the dives that you push out, it makes it a bit more achievable to people because it's like, I don't know, when I've improved the most, it's when I'm going out with people that are better than I am. And if you're always diving with the same people, it's cool because you know everyone, but you're also not being challenged to see really what's possible. So I think that's one of the cool things about the intermediate is getting guys being able to dive with, like yourself and Tom and sort of see, what you can do. It's cool. Tom, for you, mate, what was the highlight from the intermediate from last year for you?
The evening sessions that we had were phenomenal. Had a great time doing that. Like Tim said, Tim Hall getting over that mental barrier, but also David, he was working himself into such a state of anxiety that he didn't think he could even go dive. And he managed to work through that. He ended up diving quite well and then shooting that great big kingy, which for him was a fish that he was really stoked to get and had been working towards, and it was a solid fish, good fish in anyone's book. So being in the water with him for that was pretty special.
Tim, at the sort of the back end of the course, like you were coming in and out on your Hanes out to the island every day and partaking in, a 14 or 16 hour day. So it was good because I was getting my money's worth, But you were putting in the hours. But I remember on the last day, I think that you were there and a storm was rolling in and we were chatting about, what worked really well with the intermediate and what maybe we could do to improve it in the future. And you said to me, you challenged me, doing a course off straight is great, but there's only so much opportunity because the ground gets picked over a lot, sees a fair bit of population pressure. And you said, why, if you are going to do this, do it on a charter. and then guys will be out in a phenomenal location with arguably a lot more opportunity, and then it might be a better ground for learning some of these skills. Do you remember that conversation, and do you still sort of stand by that?
I do. I remember the conversation. I think probably even take the step back beforehand, we had the conversation in the lead up to the intermediate, and it was like, okay, if we're diving the rock wall again, I think we need to get offshore. And then obviously you put a lot of work into making that happen. I know that was really hard work for you to make that happen, but you did it. And I think probably that was step one, which probably got my thinking a little more like, okay, if you really want to do this intermediate well, what's step two? I think that's probably what got my thinking originally, what the work you did at the start. I remember that conversation, and I remember you going, oh, there's a lot of logistic challenges, there's cost, there's all of that, which obviously is a big challenge to doing that and doing that well.
Yeah. Well, half of the thing is like, like you've got to charge people the right amount to be able to put these things on, and the vessel hire to bring a Dodge Ram and an 8-meter boat out to Stratty for the 3 days of the course and run it for 2 days with a paid coxswain. All of a sudden these costs are coming in, plus the rent of the house and all the other things. And like anytime you run one of these trips, the logistics and the admin, and then working out how to cost things appropriately, just so you're not putting yourself in a position you don't want to be in, because, we want to have a good time, but at the end of the day, it's got to be financially viable. So that they were some lessons I learned on the first one. This time around, it's a way different ball game. And I might just introduce you guys to Smythy and Noffas while we're here, because these two live in Mackay. They're going to be assistants and guides on this charter adventure. And the boys are going to be able to sort of give us a bit of an introduction to themselves and then the vessel we're heading out on. So, g'day, Smythy.
Hey, fellas. Absolute pleasure to meet you.
Smythy's the one with the filthy mo, and Noffas the one with the from ape to Spearo shirt.
Yeah, I'm one of my favourites.
I'm a Tom as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, we are from Mackay. The vessel that we're going on is the Queen Elizabeth II. We went on that just recently for a bit of a walk around. It's an awesome vessel.
Yeah.
Like the majority of rooms there are double rooms. I think there's 2 that are triples. I think they use them for staff. They're en-suited, right?
I think they were, right? Yeah.
And it has a beautiful big dining hall in the middle of it, up the deck above, and the platform out the back for your tinnies and your loading area of getting on and off of the vessel.
Yeah.
These guys, predominantly the Elizabeth E2 crew, Tim and Tom, they are predominantly a line fishing charter. They'll fish like 14, 16 people flat out, but they quite like the idea. And the skipper Shane is the Spearo himself, so it's fully like laid out for diving in terms of deck space. There is going to be a little bit of logistical planning in terms of how we manage gear storage and stowage, but we have already been on the vessel, had a really good chat with the skipper. He's super open, and they're really keen to make this thing work. And the vibe I got from him was like they want to make this an ongoing thing, so they're going to be trying their best to make it work, which is a really great foot to set off on. Sometimes when you go with the more established operators, there's almost like this sense of like, it doesn't matter if you come or not, because we've got other people that want to go. So these guys seem like they're legitimately like very interested in it, and really nice guy as well. I hope Shane's the skipper we have for our main.
Well, both the skippers are going to come on this first one, they said.
Okay.
And I think also just a little detail they had, like they're going to man the tinnies as well, which is an awesome thing to have. Like then you don't have to rotate some of the divers through that, so it'll be staffed from them.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
And
it's awesome, because I'm actually allergic to boating, so that's quite
I'm usually the boating.
Yeah, mate. I think we all are allergic to boating at some point, So
one of the worst things about some of those DIY charters is the fact that you do have to rotate in and out of boating duties.
Yep.
And these tenders having a crew person on them, and then essentially it'll be 2 buddy pairs and a guide with each buddy pair. I think that's going to be magic. A lot of time in the water when you're out there. So
It was seriously the worst when you'd rock up to a good spot and there's fish everywhere and you're stuck in the boat, So
yeah,
it goes a long way having someone in there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
The best option to doing that is keep those good spots till the end of the day, and everyone's tired and wants the boatie. Then you're into it. It's gold.
You're onto it.
Yeah.
Very good.
So in terms of meals and showers, boys, like for me, like getting out on a trailer boat, you're out there all day, come back in, you got to fillet fish, you got to do all the stuff, clean the boat. When you're out on one of these charters, the highlights is, we've got someone sort of boating. Then we get to come in and have hot showers and hot meals that are prepared for us. Don't have to worry about washing a boat. That's a big highlight for me. You guys have had similar experiences?
Yeah, certainly.
Absolutely, man. There's nothing better than just going to a spot, shooting your fish, putting the fish in the esky, getting back to the boat, and everything's just ready for you. Hey,
Or just even having that bit extra room to walk around in. Like, like we all go in our boats and stuff, but it is quite jammed. But to be able to freely walk around, have that room, decompress, it's awesome.
Well, one thing I was going to, like, when I chatted with Shane, their normal sort of process is the deckies fillet all the fish, and then they put them in freezer bags, essentially, and then as long as we're all happy to do it, most of the fish will just be divvied up between everyone equally at the end of the trip. Unless you have, like, particular special fish, then there is, provision for them to be frozen whole or to be bagged separately so that you can have it if it's something really special to you. But otherwise, I think the plan is probably to split it up. And from a logistics point of view, I don't think we're going to have a shortage of fish. So they've got a decent blast freezer in there. I'm pretty sure it was like minus 19 or something like that. But I don't like freezer bags. I really like to vacuum pack fish fillets. And then if you're flying out, it preserves all that eating quality. Like, that fish is going to be good for another 6 months, whereas in a freezer bag, you're like, 6 weeks?
Yeah.
So has anyone got their own vacuum pack machine that they would be keen to bring?
I'll bring one.
What we'll probably do is we'll have 3 set up, and then hopefully guys can work a system between, who was on their vessel. So if there's 4 divers, right, and 2 guides, 2 people are riding on bags, 2 people might be cutting bags, 2 people are sealing, 2 people are putting fish in bags or something like that.
It's really, really important that students learn how to vacuum pack properly. Me and Tim can sit back and keep an eye on them, but students definitely should.
Good call.
I like it, It's a fun process. It's a team bonding exercise.
Yeah. At the end of the day, there's a few potential swear words sucked at each other, but
Are you in the market for a new spear gun? Killshot Spear Guns has got blue water wahoo tuna guns, open track spear guns, enclosed track spear guns, rear handle enclosed tracks. Check them out at killshotspearguns.com. Even better, I've got some good news for you. You can save $30 on any Killshot spear gun at killshotspearguns.com. Use the code NOOB. If you're in store, just say, "Crikey, mate," or say Shrek from the Noob Spearo sent you, and you'll save $30. Ed Martin at killshotspearguns.com. Check them out.
Massive thanks to today's sponsor, Dog and Gun Coffee. It's bloody good coffee, ready for adventure. They use specialty grade beans and roasted fresh in Brisbane by a small Aussie team. Their most popular product, and this is one that I love myself, are the preloaded drip filters, which allow you to have cafe quality coffee anywhere. And I use them out on my Stratty spearfishing adventures. It is legit cafe quality coffee that you can make with simple boiling water. Add your own milk and sugar. Well, that's what I do anyway. Their owners, Sean and Rach, are keen hunters in and out of the water and want to encourage more people to get outdoors. That's pretty much the vision of Dog and Gun Coffee. Check it out at dogandguncoffee.com.au. Use the code NOOB10 to save 10%. Can't get better than that. Go to dogandguncoffee.com.au. Again, hey, I like the Sandbar Dark Roast as well. Check that out at Dog and Gun Coffee. This podcast is brought to you by aqualite.com.au. This is the best solution, bar none, for staying hydrated in the ocean. If you're a Spearo, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a game changer. If you're doing extended trips and the cramp starts to set in and the old body's telling you, hey, that's enough, just get hydrated and it will save you a whole heap of woe. Get Aqualite at aqualite.com.au. It's scientific rehydration that Spearos know and trust. I know because one works there, and that's why we've set up this discount code for you. 10% off when you use the code NoobSpearo at aqualite.com.au. acolyte.com.au. Check it out. Australian-made hydration products tailored for Spearos and a whole bunch of other people that suffer from dehydration too. But check it out at acolyte.com.au. Use the code NoobSpearo to save 10%.
I'm just going to take this opportunity to welcome everyone for a start, because I think everyone's sort of still dribbling in. Tom Sandstrom up there, he's on my top left. He's one of our main instructors. Got Tim McDonald up there sort of next to me on the right. And then Smythy and Noffas are also some of our assistant guides on the trip. And the rest of you legends, Kurt is also going to be one of our assistant guides as well down the bottom there. You might recognise him from his YouTube channel. But some of these guys are Mackay based. It's going to be pretty cool being able to tap into that local knowledge in terms of where to stay, where to eat, and, you know, if you want to find boxes for putting fish in to bring home on the airlines, these guys are probably going to be able to help us out with that. So that'll be cool. But welcome, Brandon, Peter, John, Reed, and Jeremy. Awesome to have you guys with us and on this charter as well. If you wanted to quickly introduce yourselves, I might just start off with Brandon. Brandon, what are you hoping to get out of this trip, mate?
Basically for me, I'm just looking to improve my hunting skills, learn from some of the best, in my opinion. I've been spearing for not even 3 years now. But yeah, love it, froth it, pretty much live it now. So yeah, just basically just want to learn as much as I can from whoever I can.
Cool. So the concept of the trip and having sort of guides there to give you some tips and sort of be in the water with them, that really appeals to you?
Yeah, pretty much. As soon as I saw the lineup, I had guided sort of diving and spearing, I was like, in my opinion, it was an opportunity that I couldn't really pass up for what I'm looking to get out of this sort of thing.
Perfect. So Tim and Tom and actually Smythy and Noffas are all delivering different talks predominantly on the way out there, as we will do it while we're sort of motoring out. Last year, Tim did an absolute cracker presentation on understanding the weather from a marine point of view. That was a real eye-opener for even all of the instructors. And Tim was like, I haven't even scratched the surface. But for most of us, we were fairly overwhelmed with how much there is to learn about that side of spearfishing. So that's cool. Peter, would you like to introduce yourself and why you're keen on coming on the trip?
Thanks, Shrek. I retired this year, so I'm keen to jump.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Should have retired a long time ago, of course, but I'm keen to jump on every trip I can. I belong to the Tweed Coast Spearfishing Club. I'm on the committee there, and I'm just keen to get some instruction and improve my skills, as the other boys here are, I know. Yeah. And just be an awesome trip. But I know, as well as with the aim of improving my obviously breath hold, and it's sort of like learning to relax is obviously the big key here. It's the only thing that's stopping us is that thing between our two ears. So, as I've heard many people say,
Are you heading up to 1770 this year, Pete?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I am. Thanks.
I'll see you up there.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. Yeah. No, that's going to be a good trip. I'm there for the whole week. I'll probably bring my boat up.
Is that the state titles?
No, Coffs, Tweed and Sunny Coast are having a little freeway challenge. We're just going to go and stay at 1770 for the week and go for a dive.
Cool.
Yeah, no, it's very, very economic trip, that one.
Yeah, it is. Very cheap.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Are you coming with a buddy, Peter?
No, but I'll be flying up, obviously. But I don't have a buddy on yet organised.
A lot of people are in the boat of like, whether you're coming with a buddy or you're coming with without one. Everyone's a lot of people have got questions with regards to that. I'm going to send out a survey to a lot of you guys, but even if you're coming with a mate, like I know Reed's coming with Sam, happy for people to dive together, a fair amount, but I would love to see a lot of rotation going as well. Can I see some nods if you guys are actually happy to rotate and dive with a few different people as well? Yeah, because I find you learn a fair amount. Like,
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, in the club, that's what we do in the club. You know, it's very important that we learn to, to abide by the rules. You know, because they're also a legal issue as well that we've got to conform to. Yeah.
We will touch on some of these things as well, Peter, including our process for buddying up. But thanks for touching on that, John. For you, mate, welcome aboard the call for a start, and then introduce yourself and why you signed up for this charter course.
Yeah, how you going, guys? So myself and my mate Jace, who he's flying tonight for work, couldn't sign in. But the thing that appealed the most to us, I guess, was when we saw it was talking about an intermediate level. We've been spearing for a few years, really enjoying it, love it. It's pretty much what we all talk about all the time among our crew of friends. And it was knowing that it was sort of like that intermediate level where you're not great, but you're not that bad either. That really appealed to us, eh? And then the ability the option, I guess, to learn and get better as we go throughout the trip as well. That was what appealed to us the most, yeah.
Sick. Awesome. Glad you're with us, John. Reed, for you, mate. Reed's done a beginner course with me with his brother-in-law Sam. These two are proper frothers, and both gun divers too. So
yeah, we haven't been doing it for too long, but this is going to show our strengths and weaknesses pretty quick. Yeah. As soon as we saw sort of who's coming and what sort of royalty we're going to be around, we were eggering.
We spent a week together
up as much brownie points as we could do with the wives to make sure this happens.
Yeah, nice. Are you going to bring out some of your finger limes from that tree you got there?
Yeah, I'm going to bring some up for sure.
Because Tim loves to cook. He's made the Shrek Vice, and now it's his, isn't it? It's actually Tim Vice now.
Vice is nowhere near as good as the Shrek Vice. I'll give you the drum.
That's all good. I'm hoping that we can, as usual, like one of the cool things of these trips is everyone's learning something, you know. Like I know Tim kind of, I think, got surprised by some of the things he learnt on the trip. We were doing some weird like stretching for breathing, and I think some of that, Tim really enjoyed some of those challenging aspects. It's not part of his normal spearfishing. But I like that exchange, Tim. It seemed like you really enjoyed that too.
Well, a hamstring and it's been sore ever since. But no, not true, not true. Definitely something that I've never done, never even really experienced. I've never done a free dive course. So that for me was just even some of the things that you're talking about. I read Umberto Pellizzari's book years ago, and that's about it in the way of free dive stuff. So yeah, that was really cool. Some of that breathing, stretching, that was really, really good, mind-blowing stuff for me.
It was cool to hear how it worked with your injury too, because you had a car accident, didn't you? And then there was some inflexibility, and it was kind of helping you to feel out your injury in a whole new way.
I should have stuck to it and kept doing a bit more stretching. I actually was a football injury.
Oh, that's right.
I broke 4 ribs over a month. I broke 1 rib, and then I didn't go to the doctors and took anti-inflammatories for a month and spearfished with a broken rib, and then broke another 3 a month later. And found out that I had an existing broken rib. That kept me out of water for 6 months. And then I hurt my back after that as well, which is probably all a part of the whole deal. But the flexibility side of what the guys were talking about was actually challenging, very challenging for me.
We'll probably do a bit more of that. Like Tom's recovering from a back injury, but he's actually really good at teaching some of those stretches as well. So hopefully we will do some breath work and some of that stuff. I feel like it really sets the tone for it.
What you're saying, Shrek, is he's teaching that stuff, the stretching side, and he's still got a bad back, so it's not working. Is that what we're trying to say?
It's got more to do with my silly life choices than
correlation, not causation. Tim, come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Jeremy, welcome aboard the call, mate. I'd love to hear a bit about you and what's motivated you to sign up.
Well, I'm Mackay based, but I'm Canadian. Just to get out and do some solid day spearfishing with what seems like a good group of guys, kind of thing.
Yeah,
just
nice.
Some new stuff. So, yeah, and just get it on the water that's not working wise. So it'll be nice.
We had 2 from the North American continent last time. They were from a world away from Canada. They were from Florida, a couple.
Yeah.
I actually really like having a bunch of different personalities and accents as well. It's not just me being the only foreigner from New Zealand. So, that'll be cool, Jeremy. We'll stick together.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Kurt, do you want to introduce yourself, mate? Kurt's going to be one of our sort of guides, assistants in the water. He's got a massive YouTube channel, continues to grow. What's it called again, Kurt?
Exhale Adventures.
Exhale Adventures.
Hopefully you can hear me.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah, cool. I'm Kurt. I've sort of come along onto this bit of a journey off the back of the podcast that I did with Shrek, and met up with Smythy and Noffas, and I'm just excited to get out there with this good bunch of guys so far. No girls, I don't think, but it should be good.
There was one girl messaging me. She was like, I really want to come. Are there any other girls? I'm trying to convince my brother to come with me. I was like, I can put a message out if you want. That way, but like it is weird for, I think, one woman to come out with, there's going to be 21 blokes because there's 16 of you guys. There's 6 instructor guides, and then there's 2 media people coming out as well. So it's going to be a lot of blokes there. That's for sure. 22 of us, I think. Or 24 of us. We're going to fill it up. So it's going to be cool.
That'd be good. I've never been on a trip like this, like on a charter with, having the ability to go back and have a good sleep and all that sort of stuff. Normally it's sort of roughing it in a swag on the deck and jumping in and doing it all again. So it'll be good to have a hot meal and all that sort of stuff. I'm actually looking forward to that.
Yeah. It's sometimes the worst thing about these charters is going back home and out into some dirty, dark, cold water. And Tim's boat's actually been out of action, I think, for a month. So hopefully, and Tom hasn't been doing a lot of diving either. I think he's starting to get back into it now, Tom.
Yeah, gradually getting back into it. I jumped the gun first off back and set myself back a little bit, but I'll be back in action soon.
Oh, good. Guys, at this stage, we're still discussing sort of as a team some of the in-water plan, but as it stands at the moment, there'll be, for the most part, when you're out in the tenders diving further abroad, you'll be in a buddy pair. You'll have one tub for all of your gear before you get on to the tender, and the 2 of you will have a float with a 30-metre line attached to it. Sometimes there will be an option there to dive with a reel gun, but it's going to be there. It's going to be something that we'll have going mostly for visibility point of view, and then you'll have a guide probably diving with a reel gun swimming in and around you, and we'll rotate in a sort of a 3-person dive team, so to speak. The beauty of diving in a 3-person team is you're forced to double your surface interval because you're in a rotation. So that can actually be really beneficial. And sometimes with an intermediate course, it actually gives you a little bit of time to process some of the feedback that you'll get in the water and think about how you're going to apply that to your next dive. But I think we're going to have quite a lot of opportunity with these reef edges. We've got flats. We're possibly going to look at some blue water action depending on weather, suitability of you guys and how well the trip's sort of panning out. But did you guys have questions with regards to the vessel, the logistics, the diving? I'd love to sort of open it up and just be free to speak. And Brandon, we'll start with you, mate. Fire away.
Basically just regarding gear and stuff like that. So you say we'll be diving with a 30-metre float line and that. Personally, I have a bit of a hatred for float lines. I run reels on all my guns and a belt reel. Yeah. So, like, are we to bring our own floats, inflatable floats, float lines, anything like that? If we did blue water, should we have breakaway setups rigged up, or?
What I might do is just sort of, I think it would be better if everyone bought their own float line. You're not going to be forced to dive with the float line. But this is still a matter of conjecture at this point. We're definitely going to have a float. Whether that's got the flasher on it and you're all diving reel guns will be very much dependent on weather and conditions, surface visibility, and the calls of the instructors.
Yep.
The good thing about an intermediate is I'm expecting a fairly high level of discipline, and we'll have a bit of a brief about buddying up and staying in our team. I ran a trip last year to the Whitsundays, and I literally had 2 guys tethered to the same float 60 metres apart, just pulling in opposite directions because they both thought that was where the fish were. And as long as everyone's got a level of maturity and personal responsibility, I'm actually probably pretty happy to dive reel guns. But if we've got 10 metres viz and it's pretty sketchy topside, then we might be running a compulsory float line. I think as an instructor group, we will probably have a bit more of a discussion about that because I'm going to want these other guys to weigh in.
Yeah, if we can't see you on the bottom, you'll be wearing a rig line. But
that comes in.
Obviously, current issue too. We're going to end up, I'm guessing, Shrek, be 100 k's offshore, and there's a lot of challenge attached to finding people in that sort of environment.
Yeah. So, Brandon, the objective of this trip is for everyone to kind of froth and grow and have a lot of fun, but also we want to bring home everyone safe. So we will probably err slightly on the side of safety, but I think we've got a pretty capable team, and diving with reel guns should be a portion of the diving, I'm imagining. But
we all like to dive with reel guns too, so when we can, we will.
Yeah, no, that's fine. A lot of it's just logistically what I need to pack, what I need to sort of fit in my bag and that.
One thing, and Smythy and Noffas have been working on this as well, we're basically putting together a list of what the recommended equipment is for you guys in terms of how many spear guns, how many shafts, wetsuit thickness, stinger suit, so on and so on. But then we're also going to have a list of stuff that we're bringing, and there will be a spares inventory supplied by Neptune Spear and Dive and Mackay, so you should be able to buy some of the gear if you need it on the boat. But we're also probably going to meet up in the store the day before we head out on the charter as well. That way everyone's kind of covered. Does that?
And I think there'll be enough time that morning of as well if people needed to get in that store.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Oh, good.
It's water temp around that time of year, boys.
5 mil for you, mate.
Yeah. No, I think we were talking about it just recently. Like we shouldn't be bringing anything heavier than 3 mil.
Yeah, it'll be early to mid-20s probably.
I'm hearing that, Shelby from Neptunes has said no one should be bringing a 5 mil. 3 mil is probably the thickest you'll run.
For sure. I'll mainly run my 1.5, but I will bring the 3 mil just in case as well. So
I'll be wearing
a 1.5 mil suit in early 20-degree water.
I'll be wearing a 5
mil. We're looking 25 to 27.
Our water temp now is like 23, 24 degrees, and I've been wearing a 5 mil for months.
You were a 5 mil when we had 25 at Stratty.
Yeah,
I think it's a matter if you feel the cold a bit more, take that little bit heavier suit. Like I'll run a 3.5 up until November. Depends how far north we are, but out off Mackay here, I'd wear a 3.5. I'd take it out there. Even just sitting on the surface a bit longer, like we'll be doing good intervals. You'll cool down a little bit as well. So
the sea temps that I'm looking at, and I think the same maybe Noffas looked at, I think it's inshore water temps off Mackay, and sometimes when we're as far out, 120 kilometres out, the water temperature can be quite dramatically different based on the strength of the EAC and all of the other things that Tim taught me about last year. I dare say a 3 mil might be good, but then having a stinger suit, what I'm thinking I might be running is stinger pants and then a 3 mil top. That's probably what I'm predicting, but I will be running a 3 mil now, whereas Tim's at a 5 mil, but I have a bit more insulation. So there is a fair amount of preference involved, I think. I think if you have a stinger suit and a 3 mil, or it's kind of like, or a 3 mil top at least, and then a 1.5 mil suit, then you've probably got your bases covered and you're not taking up too much space because, the good thing about a stinger suit or a 1.5 mil is they take up bugger all room in your luggage. So, yeah.
Yeah,
one of the main factors too is the wind chill, isn't it? I was out last weekend. A 3 mil was all right in the water, but out of the water it was pretty cold with that southerly, southeasterly.
It's a good point. So Caitlin and Shelby from Neptunes are also going to send out an email with a sort of a sun safety advice for up there at this time of year, with a heap of information in it. But bringing out a jacket to have when you are on the tenders, coming back in from the cold from a long day out, particularly when you're dehydrated, can be pretty hectic, even when you're up in the tropics like we're going to be.
I just love a functional and simple spear gun that I can trust when I pull the trigger. Killshot spear guns utilize the finest of kiln-dried Burmese teak. Killshot spear guns also combine American-made parts and fine craftsmanship to bring you accurate, reliable, and simple spear guns that you can trust, fish after fish. Get $30 off any Killshot spear gun at killshotspearguns.com. Yes and amen, Nuber. That's $30 off American-made performance spear guns at killshotspearguns.com. I'm really sorry for this terrible accent. Brought to you by Ed Martin at killshotspearguns.com.
To make the most of your spearfishing trip, charter, or competition, I am putting together a 50-day Spear Ready program so that I can be in the best condition to make the most of this WA comp. It's a big swim comp, shore-based, and big swims for the day. I am not carrying a hell of a lot of physical conditioning because just due to my life and lifestyle, pretty busy with 4 kids. So this program will be 100% focused on action. And I thought, since I'm doing it, why not take a whole bunch of other people along for the ride? It's a 50-day program incorporating strength and conditioning, nutrition, dry and pull training, and everything else with a bunch of experts. I reached out to a whole bunch of legends I know, like Adam Stern, Jared Rosenberg, strength and conditioning coach. And we put together this program basically to get the most out of our bodies and make the most of these opportunities. Sometimes they're only once in a lifetime. You really want to arrive in the best possible condition that you can be. So Spear Ready, 50-day program to help you gear up. Go register noobspearo.com/spear ready. This podcast is brought to you by aqualite.com.au. This is the best solution, bar none, for staying hydrated in the ocean. If you're a Spearo, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a game changer. If you're doing extended trips and the cramp starts to set in and the old body's telling you, hey, that's enough, just get hydrated and it will save you a whole heap of woe. Get Aqualite at aqualite.com.au. It's scientific rehydration that Spearos know and trust. I know because one works there, and that's why we've set up this discount code for you. 10% off when you use the code NoobSpearo at aqualite.com.au. Check it out. Australian-made hydration products tailored for Spearos and a whole bunch of other people that suffer from dehydration too. But check it out at aqualite.com.au. Use the code NoobSpearo to save 10%.
Next question, guys. John's got one.
Yeah, just following on from the gear. So I guess the question that got bounced around a bit between me and my mate was we both run like 1200s that are double banded. Do we need anything larger than that, or is that about right? Our backup guns are usually a little bit smaller, like about the metery or 1100s. Is that what we're looking at for this sort of trip?
I run a 1200 here pretty consistently, and it keeps me out of trouble.
Perfect.
That's what I run, yeah.
Kurt's done a bit of mixed blue water and outwider reef hunting off Mackay in particular as well. Kurt, what's your gut feel on that? If we are starting to touch on some blue water stuff, would it be a good idea to have a 1400 in the quiver? What do you do?
If you own a 1200, I wouldn't go out and buy a 1400. I'd run a 1200. I've got other bigger guns, but yeah, that's my main gun for reef diving and lagoon diving and all that sort of stuff. What we'll be mostly doing. I reckon 1200 should be sweet.
Excellent.
Tim, what are you bringing?
When you tell me exactly which reefs we're going to, I would probably put together a plan, looking at where we're going to go. I'd spend some time on some charts, having a look at what that is and do a little bit of research before we go. That's what I would do.
Okay.
I would say I'm going to bring a 120 Euro, which I use predominantly. But if we're actually going to be targeting blue water with possible bigger fish, then I may be I'd probably do a little bit more research on where we're going, what we're looking at from here. Possibly bring a blue water gun, just depending on what we have in the way of space wise. But I'll be certainly bringing a 120 Euro. That's what I'll be used.
So the boys sort of touched on it earlier. We're in two berth cabins essentially. So it's only two of you in a room, and you have your own ensuite bathroom pretty much. I think there might be cabins where there's 3 beds to a room, but there's only 2 of those. But for the most part, gear storage will be in your cabin, and then you'll take out what you're using for the dive day with you. So bringing out 6 spear guns, probably not a great idea. I would say it's a 3 spear gun trip or 2 if you've got ample spare shafts, and that'll probably be reflected in our recommended equipment. Tim, you did touch on where our likely plan is. The skipper does like a fair amount of leeway given weather and prevailing conditions, but he does have a rough idea. I will try and get that to the instructor team, and then I might disseminate it a little bit more broadly as well. One thing I would urge everyone is I don't like putting spots online. If you want to tell your mates about it person to person, all good, but I would prefer it if we didn't throw big reef systems under the bus. Even though we're 100 kilometres offshore, I don't think they need any social media pressure. So we'll just say the hard line, but on a level in the group, I probably will try and get you guys a bit of a rough plan from the skipper's point of view. How does that sound?
Perfect.
John, did that help?
Yeah, it definitely did.
All right,
good feedback.
So the 1200 sounds like you can rock it. And then you and your mate might like to bring a shared blue water gun on.
That's exactly what I was thinking. We'll probably split one just in case we do get out there.
Because if you do blue water hunting, it will probably end up, we'll work with the buddy pairs that we know best, because these are the situations that are higher risk. And so you want to, trust each other a bit more. Whereas some of the reef hunting, it's okay to dive with new guys, but sometimes you just want tried, tested and true when you're going out to potentially shoot the fish of a lifetime.
That sounds good.
All right, cool. Reed, you look like you got a question, mate.
If we're running float lines, are we just going to run one gun when we're in the water like we were doing, Tom, over at Stratty, and just rotating on the one gun? Or
I think we could probably have our own guns and share the rig line, particularly those that are running a reel.
So I think we're going to try to run it like the competition, the Queensland competition, with one like a 30-metre line and then also a secondary 5-metre line. So the second gun would be on that 5-metre line.
One of the reasons, it's a good question, Reed. One of the reasons we probably won't do it like that is because A, you guys are a high level, and B, sharks. You want an opportunity to put in a second shot with a second gun, but also you want to run interference on sharks if your mate's pulling a fish in. And you want something to put between you and the shark. So everyone kind of wants a spear gun in their hands.
Yep. Easy.
Cool.
For Reed, one of the things that we did in the Aussie titles is not necessarily have that gun clipped to, the gun clipped to the rig line. We had the rig line clipped to ourselves. I think what we're trying to say is that rig line's there simply as an ability to see you and know where you are when you're down. I think that's probably what we're trying to say. And listen, if you're swimming around in 5 meters of water on a reef edge chasing red throats, you're probably not going to be so set and focused on we need a rig line attached to you.
Yeah.
Would that be right, Shrek?
100%. Yeah. And one of the good things about this, and for all of you guys, is you're diving with Tim McDonald, Tom Sandstrom. These guys have got a very, very healthy understanding of the risk that we face when we go spearfishing, and they will make decisions accordingly. So if they say, hey, we're going to do it this way because of A, B, and C, then that's the way we're going to do it. But I think they share the same objectives that you guys do. We want to have a good time, shoot heaps of fish and have fun, But we also want to be safe. So they'll be ultimately making the call in the water. But I like the idea of hunting with real guns when opportunities are appropriate, for sure. It's so good for hunting, if we're all honest, and if you're entering any sort of structure, even if it's overhangs and stuff like that, having a float line on can be actually more drama than it's worth. But there's a whole bunch of reasons why you want to use one at times. So, yeah. Any other questions so far, guys, on the vessel, the fish process? What about logistics in terms of flying in, where to stay, food and stuff? I know Smythy and Noffas are putting together a bit of a plan for us. But if you've got any questions, it might be a cool time to ask them.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind. Oh, sorry.
You go, mate.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, obviously booking it soon as I can. So yeah, that the itinerary would be good if you could suggest something. The other question I just asked was to do with weights. Do we buy our weights up there? Because obviously on the plane there's going to be a fair bit of stuff. You know,
we're driving up, aren't we, Shrek?
I'm thinking about driving up.
Yeah.
And
I've got a truckload of weight. I can probably drive some up.
Yeah.
People flying with it.
I'm thinking about driving up, and that might be one of the reasons to do it. But one thing, Peter, it's a great question, and it's 100% logical. Another question I've had is, what about floats? Can we rent floats? And particularly maybe blue water floats if we want to do some of that sort of diving. Neptunes are putting together a bit of a plan for us, and they're working out the costings on hiring weights, floats, and a bunch of other stuff should you want it. And I actually thought if people fly in on the 6th and we meet at Neptune's at 5 o'clock that night, all of us, and that's kind of where we'll just say hello, a bit of a meet and greet, and then and if anyone has anything that they want done rigging wise or gear wise, the guys will stay after hours to look after us. And then if you've got intensive rigging requirements, I'd suggest you arrive earlier. But and then we'll go out for dinner at 6 o'clock. Sort of the day before we head off on the 7th. Smythy and Noffas are working on the rough itinerary in terms of where to stay and all of the sort of that helpful information in terms of flying in, all that sort of stuff. So, but if you do have any questions, it might be a time to ask them, and then they can make sure that they add that to the itinerary. On the 12th, so we're basically motoring overnight, and then we will be moored up to the dock first thing in the morning, I think, on the 12th. Is that right, Smythy?
I believe so. I'll just double check.
Yeah, I think that is right. So we'll be there at dawn on the 12th, and then basically the plan will be to go out somewhere for breakfast, and then we're going to run some friendly competitions for the duration of the trip. And I'd love to hear your guys' ideas on what might make some fun comps.
Ooh, small interruption, folks. I wanted to chat with you about the Noob Spearo knife packs. It comes in a roll, 2 Victory engraved catch and cook knives with an Eggington steel, 2-sided scatter, and fishbone tweezers. It all comes in a convenient roll so you can hide it from the family so they're not chopping up cheese and vegetables and ruining those sharp filleting knives. You can hide that away and pull it out when you get back from a mad session out on the water to fillet your fish and treat them with the respect they deserve. Make the most of it. Check it out, noobspearo.com. Head up into the shop there and check out our Catch and Cook custom knife packs. Get into it. If you have a back pain, I reckon this thing is an absolute no-brainer. Check out the Orca harness at oldmanblue.com.au. The Orca harness, a diving weight vest made by Old Man Blue. That's right, you can remove the weights and remove the pressure on your lower back and distribute the weight like a boss. It even makes duck diving easier. Store your safety sausage, whistle, mirror, and or knife on the Orca harness and be a safer diver. There's a quick release safety mech. It's 100% Australian made and personally sized. That's right, go and check out the Orca harness. Make back pain a thing of the past at oldmanblue.com.au.
For example, like, biggest Spanish, most meritorious fish of the trip. And there'll be a bunch of prizes supplied by us for some of these comps.
Reece Duncan Jr. did his Bucks party on Northwest, and they had a whiteboard with a list of all different things. I'll get that off him. They had a great time, like a fun competition. It wasn't necessarily good fish all the time. There was platinum snapper of 1.5 kilos, a trout, like it was like it was really specific. It wasn't necessarily big fish. It was like you had to try and get a specific size. Yeah, that was cool.
So, Peter, was there any follow-up questions on that?
Yeah, maybe best photo as well.
Best photo. Yeah. Okay. All right. And Tom's going to send me that board of ideas. Also, while we're thinking about comps and games, guys, we're still on the subject of logistics as well. So if you have questions for Smythy and Noffas, it'd be a good time to fire away.
I have one question that refers to logistics, I guess. with flying into the airport sort of thing with all our gear and that, are we going to have like a meeting place in town, say Neptune's or something like that, or just basically when we should fly in, sort of how to get a gear around and where to stay sort of thing? So Smythy and Noffas, are they going to sort of make a bit of a guide on Mackay sort of thing?
Yeah, we're not exactly sure if there is, like obviously everyone's going to fly in at different times and whatnot.
Yeah.
For the logistics side, like we are opting for cabs. Like Ubers aren't really a thing in Mackay, but also on the other hand, me and Tom are more than happy to pick people up from the airport and drop you to your motels and whatnot.
Yeah, I was going to say I can do the same as well. I'm pretty close to the airport.
Yeah.
And still just use horse and carts in Mackay?
I thought it was wombats up there.
Clydesdales.
Yeah. But yeah, like kind of with regards where everything is going to be partaken at the harbour. So we do recommend that, you get to the airport and then you go straight to the harbour. There is a joint there called the Mantra Mackay. Looking at about $270 a night there. Or there is a caravan park just down the road. I couldn't get prices for that, but I would imagine it would be a fair bit cheaper.
Yeah.
But the airport is obviously the opposite side of the marina, and then probably Neptune's is probably in the center there.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yep.
It's not a great distance though, Mackay. That's one thing I like about the place. Everything's like super close. Like
we're a small town, pretty much. A large.
Probably would be cool if we're all staying in the same place. I would suggest that $270 a night's probably a bit on the steep side. Do you think that there's any chance we could negotiate a bit of a group discount there?
We can. We'll definitely take that on board, and we'll go chat to them. We'll even chat to a few places and see what best we can come up with.
Yeah. That'd be the go. Like it'd obviously be awesome if everyone could stay at the harbour. We will try and get a discounted price, but yes, you're right. $270 for the night is a bit.
I tell you, the other option, like the caravan park, I don't think everyone's going to care that much, to be honest. And if it's a rallying point where everyone's staying together, I think that'd probably be preferable too. I couldn't give really a rat's. If we stay in a caravan park on night one, then when we get out onto the charter boat, you'll be like, this is luxury. Whereas if I come from the Mantra, I might be like, oh no, got to go on the charter.
Yeah, so, with your spa bath out in your bed.
I forgot my Epsom salts.
Man. We'll make a couple calls and see if we can do some sort of group booking. That's that's easy.
All right, cool. Can you put together an itinerary with the recommended travel? And then if we're meeting up at Neptune's as our first rallying point on the day, which will be the evening before we go out for dinner together the night before, I reckon that'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
And if we had a recommended venue for where to stay with a backup venue if people didn't like it, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, easy.
All right. Peter had another question about the cabins.
Yeah, I reckon, the cabins at the motor camp would be awesome. They're pretty reasonable, eh?
Yeah, yep. And it is. I think it's only a couple K away from the harbour there. So stuff all.
Okay.
All right, guys. Jeremy, you looking like you got a bit of movement going on. Is Canadian accent question coming? No,
I'm just moving. That's
all good.
No questions. All good.
So there's a few things that
Where
I guess.
are you coming from? Canada?
No, I'm in Mackay.
You're Mackay.
Yeah. So if anyone needs a ride too, I'm more than free to pick someone up as well.
Cool. In terms of a group chat for everyone on the trip, I don't want to fire it up too early, but it might be cool to start it up sort of 6 weeks before we head out. I might send you guys out a bit of a thing where you can vote on platform, because some people like WhatsApp. Facebook Messenger is not as popular as it once was. Would a WhatsApp group be okay for everyone?
It works for me.
Yeah?
Yeah, definitely, mate.
All right, cool. All right. I won't start it too early, but that will be a place, because sometimes you guys will have questions. That'll be a great place to answer them, and then everyone sees the answer, If it's something private, you're welcome to email me, shrek@noobspearo.com. So the boys are going to do an itinerary up, so you guys will have a bit of early access to that. I'm going to get a bit of a rough plan on where we're actually planning on going from the skipper, and I will try and disseminate that to you guys. Was there anything else that we could go away and make sure that we are providing you guys with all the information that you want? So I think we've touched on admin, logistics, the vessel, the diving, some of the spear guns. We've talked about rental equipment. Those answers will be soon coming. Was there anything that you guys feel like we've missed that you wanted to touch on?
Any complimentary food, for instance, or beverages? No, they have a bar on board. I know that, but
yeah, there's a bar on board.
Drinks, like you bring your own water. Like, you know, I prefer spring water. Obviously, I don't know what the water on the boat's like.
Yeah, you just can't bring your own alcohol.
No, that's fine. Wasn't planning on that really. It was water mainly, probably spring water. You know, because a lot of these boats just fill up from the jetty, don't they?
Yeah, I'd say bring it.
Quality.
I'd say bring it. Storage might
bring
be
your
an
own
issue,
spring water, for instance. But buy that in Mackay, probably, obviously.
Yeah, and
we just got Aldi, actually.
Storage might be the only issue where you might just have it in your cabin, but they're air conditioned, so it won't be unbearable.
Yeah, okay. And as far as food goes, everything's supplied. Like just as far as treats, we just bring along our own.
Yeah, that's correct.
Chocolate or whatever we want. In that regard.
They have a chef on board. And the dinner was I think 4-course meal.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Geez, we won't need weight.
Yeah. You've got to prepare you for Burley for the next day, Pete, you know. Aqua bogs. That's what we're all about. Actually, maybe that could be a comp, guys, you know, best most publicly embarrassing aqua bog. That could be a good one.
Yeah. We should have a photo before and after, you know, when we get
I can immortalise it in a podcast episode so everyone remembers your name. You know, you'll be that guy. Oh, good. Guys, I think we've touched on a lot. Sometimes people go away from these things and that's when they actually come up with all the questions. So if you do have them, fire them through to me, Shrek@noobspearo.com, and I'll do my best to get you answers. There's sort of the partners in this arrangement, the guys that are behind the trip. So the Smythy and Noffas are from That's Chat podcast. Noobspearo is one entity, and then the Neptunes are sort of the three of us have put together this trip. So Neptunes are looking after the hire equipment, and that's why we'll be going there to do rigging and stuff and buy gear if you need it. They'll also be supplying spare parts on the boat should you need them. Smythy and Noffas are tending to do most of our local logistics stuff, as we've kind of identified. But you can use me as a point of call for any and all information as well.
Yeah, and same with us. Feel free to reach out. We're happy to help you out where we can.
100%.
Oh, good, guys. I reckon we're done. Thanks for coming.
Legends. Thank you very much.
Good to meet you all.
Thanks, gents.
Cheers. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Thanks, boys.
Oh, good.
Well, Legends, thanks for sticking with me to the end. I hope you enjoyed hearing about the Mackay Beyond the Hardline Intermediate Charter and Course, and sort of a bit more from Tim and Tom. This charter is going to run in November, and it's our inaugural one out to this location with the Elizabeth E2 charter vessel. Really hoping it goes well, because it's going to be something that we're going to try and do into the future and replicate. So stay tuned to hear live podcasts from that charter when it does eventuate. But I hope you enjoyed sort of hearing the nuts and bolts around charter planning and sort of what we try to focus in on when we run one of these intermediates. And if you are interested in doing something like that, go to spearfishingcourses.com.au/interested and fill out the form there. Let me know where and when you would like to do a charter or course, and we'll see if we can make this thing a reality. But as usual, again, thanks for sharing the podcast with your mates, telling people about it on social media, leaving reviews for the podcast. If you go above and beyond and you're a patron putting fuel in the Noob Spearo outboard, my hat's off to you. You can do that at patreon.com/ Noob Spearo, and join a bunch of other frothers, just keeping this sucker on the water and running. And maintained and updated, I should say, because I think the Noob Spearo is a little bit like a boat. Bring out another 1,000. Just that's always the case. Hey, but I'm still loving this show. I hope you come back next week. It's Dear Spearfishing Diary with two Kiwi mermaids, two ladies that have started a brand new spearfishing podcast. They're located in New Zealand, doing some very cool and having some very cool conversations in and around the traps. But let's learn a little bit more about the two ladies, Elise and Laura, next week when you tune in for the Noob Spearo podcast. I'll see you then, guys. Thanks, legends.
I remember the first time a shark took my Spanish mackerel. The delight of getting close enough to plant a shot mid-body was soon supplanted by the disappointment of a slack regline as I pulled in my spear gun with nothing to show for it. That moment is captured in every bit of Fuck the Taxman gear, from UV-resistant long-sleeve fish shirts like Not My First Rodeo jersey, right through to Death and Tax's beach towels. Get amongst it all at fuckthetaxman.com. Tongue-in-cheek gear that only Spearos and fish shows really understand. Right now, get a free hat of your choice when you spend $100 or more at fuckthetaxman.com. Check it out. Again, fuckthetaxman.com. Use the code NoobSpearo and get yourself a free hat of your choice when you spend more than $100.
Absolutely mint customer service. Specialty spearfishing equipment, elite speargun performance components, unforgettable reliability. You want to find out where to buy this? Punch in Neptonics.com and shop at the best US spearfishing store, Neptonics.com. Free shipping to the lower 48 when you spend over $199, and you can use the code NOOB10 to save 10%. This is your chance to save dosh. Buy deadly good gear and experience A-grade customer service. Will you shop with the best? Visit Neptonics.com. Use the code NOOB10 to start shooting 35-pound muttons tomorrow. Actual performance may differ from advertisement. Please refer to terms and conditions to see if you're eligible to be a legend like Shrek. This advertisement was not even endorsed by Jerry and the team at Neptonics. Hoorah and God bless America.
Hey, live it, breathe it with today's show sponsor, Adreno. They are the world's largest dive store, and they have an ever-growing range of equipment for frothers just like you. The store is staffed by legends who absolutely live and breathe the spearfishing lifestyle. Check it out. They have hassle-free returns. They've got a price match guarantee in Australia and always flat rate shipping, and you can even use Afterpay. Check them out at adreno.com.au. Noob Spearo's longest running partner. Massive thanks to them who keep powering the Noob Spearo podcast.